Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our TripleA-reno Board Game webinar. It is a webinar that is very different to all other webinars that you probably saw before, because we are actually going to play a board game later on. Before I like to welcome you to the Architects Council of Europe. We are the European umbrella organization representing the interests of all, at the moment, 600,000 European architects towards the EU institutions. And we are also involved in a lot of European funded projects that work on how can we renovate the building stock of Europe, how can we make construction more circular and carbon neutral. So TripleA-reno is one of these projects, and I'm very delighted to have with us today really good speakers. So one is Simona who's going to start the first of the project coordinator, and then we're going to move on to Jan Cromwijk, who is going to present a bit more about the idea of the board game, and then we have Anna Sanchis, who is going to explain us the rules. Then we're going to play the board game, and then we're going to have the closing remarks by Judit, Kimpian. I'm going to introduce each speaker, of course, a bit more in detail later on. This is just an overview of the agenda today. About the house rules, so please, for the moment, while we have the speakers speaking, please ensure that you're muted and that your camera is off. You can always use the chat box for questions. And then we'll have an interactive session with Slido as well. So you can already open Slido in your browser if you wish. And we're going to show you the hashtag then at that moment. While we play the board game, of course, you have to open your microphone and play with us and interact. So we will really encourage you to take part. Yes, so the next slide, please. Yes, so as I said, we are recording this webinar, yeah, so if you have any issue, then please tell us later that you said something that you don't want to have on YouTube, and then we're just going to cut this out. It's not a problem at all. And this was the quick introduction, and so I'm handing over to Dr. Simona Docca. She's the project coordinator of TripleA-reno. Originally, she's an architect with a PhD. And she's from Italy. So please, Simona, welcome.
Thank you, Veronica. And yeah, first of all, let me thank you and Architects Council of Europe for organizing this interactive event. This is the second experience or experiment that we're trying out following this approach and trying to have this virtual approach in using a non-digital tool like the board game. So I'm very happy to present and to provide a small introduction about TripleA-reno today. Next slide. Okay, so why TripleA-reno? TripleA-reno is a Horizon 2020 project, like Veronica mentioned before. We are almost over with our journey with TripleA-reno. So it was a 3 years funded project, and it started 3 years ago. So we are almost towards the end. And it was indeed funded because of his specific approach and unique approach in combining and try to approach and try to give answers to some of the pressing issues that we're facing right now towards 2050. So we know that Europe has set very aggressive goals towards a climate neutral continent by 2050. So the idea is that TripleA-reno is trying to tackle the need for an increase of renovation works through an attractive, acceptable, and affordable approach towards renovation. And next slide. Yeah, so what is in this picture of the need for more sustainable buildings and increase of renovation rates to enhance the energy efficiency in the building stock? What is this TripleA-reno innovative and unique approach that we want to emphasize. When facing the problem of renovating the building stock, we realized that there were several barriers and several problems that needed to address. And the main goal of this project is indeed to create a background, and create an environment for developing attractive and affordable and acceptable home renovations for the next years. Why attractive, affordable, and acceptable? So first of all, the main objective is to make home renovation more attractive for customers and experts. The need for attractiveness is important because sometimes we know that renovation works can be difficult to understand. Through, for instance, providing personalized information and providing the right tool and the right information, we're trying to overcome this knowledge barrier. The second key point is affordability. We know that many times the renovation works are not even started because of the high barrier for the startup cost and the payback cost. So we're trying also to facilitate the knowledge towards step-by-step renovations and also more affordable through, for instance, decision support tools. And the third point is acceptability. And this really refers to the user-centered approach that is specific for TripleA-reno and is trying to use a set of tools like the one we're seeing today, for instance, the board game, to facilitate the acceptance of renovations work as a whole. Next slide. So these are our main objectives. As a key elements, like I said before, trying to overcome this market, but also user understandings barriers, and also to overcome this knowledge gap that is critical for different stakeholders, not just from homeowners, but also for the whole spectrum of stakeholders that are involved in renovation work. We have several demonstration buildings, one in the Netherlands, one in Hungary, one in Slovenia, several in Italy, one in Greece, and one in Spain. So with this, we're really trying also to validate our approaches and to provide blueprints for this methodology and the tools that we are hoping will also have an uptake after the project end. Next slide. So very quickly, because we are going to see one of our tools today, but I would just wanted to provide this picture around the fact that TripleA-reno is developing several tools, whole centered toward this user-centered approach. Next slide. So the first one is the one we are going to see today, is the board game. It is an offline tool that is designed to facilitate the decision-making process even before the renovation work starts. The second tool is the combined labeling scheme. And we're going to see, like, very briefly what this tool is envisioned for. And the third one is our user-centered gamified platform that is somehow wrapping up all the different tools, the different support tools on the digital side. Next slide. So the first one is, of course, the energy transition game, our board game. And this is a tool that has been designed with the support of a special partner that indeed already had this board game design somewhere in mind. And together with this co-design approach that we engaged within our consortium partner, we managed to come up with a quite comprehensive tool. The tool is firstly designed in Dutch, but then has been translated in English, and it is now translated in several languages, and has a specific aim to guide players in their quest to find out the best way to make an existing home more energy efficient or energy neutral. And players can be different stakeholders, can be energy advisors, students, or homeowners. But I'm not going to say more because I know that Jan is going to take care of this part. Next slide. So you'll see that the board game indeed can be used in different ways. And it was also very interesting to see how different players, like, for instance, our colleagues, our consultants were using this board game. So the players are challenged with different scenarios. There are different concepts that can be placed, and also to enhance the the real world experience. Some challenges and opportunities are provided. Next slide. Yeah, indeed. Just to mention this before Jan is going into the detail of the board game, we also have some YouTube videos that can also help you to understand a little bit more the board game. And probably Jan will mention this, but in case you would like to get one of these board games, it is possible. So you can just send an email to us and we'll be happy to provide you with the physical board game as well for a small amount. Okay, next slide. But like I said, the approach of TripleA-reno is indeed to combine different tools, from the offline to the more digital tools. The second important tool of TripleA-reno is the combined labeling scheme, which is probably one of the first scheme developed officially to combine the benefit of the energy renovation, home renovation, combining the increase or enhancement of energy performance, indoor environmental quality, and well-being. So the tool is initially designed as an Excel file designed for professionals, but it has been translated in a non-professional version that can be also used as a sort of online assessment, and will be present also online on our website, on the TripleA-reno website. So at the moment, if you would like to use the tool, it is possible to be downloaded as an Excel file, but very soon will be also available as a total online tool with the enhanced results and like digitalized version of these results. Next slide. Well, the third important tool that we're developing is the open gamified platform. And this platform is envisioned as an holistic platform that's paved the way for an easier, more economical, and more engaging way to deal with home renovations, and includes different tools, each tool designed for a specific goal. The first one is the labeling wizard, which is a web app that can assess the building performance of a building holistically. And some improvements and suggestions are generated, and users can track improvement of their homes based on the selected renovation measures. The second tool is a design tool. And it's a wizard that provides homeowners the possibility to model their property based on the pre-selected measures. there is a personal dashboard that can be used to compare the different renovation measures selected. And then there is also project carousel that is showing per comparison similar projects that were developed in the area, and also connect, for instance, to practitioners and professionals. These are just some of the tools that are included in the platform, because apart from this, there is also a section dedicated to professionals connected to with the Build Up Skill advisory app that are indeed supporting, from the other hand, the professionals developing the renovation works. Next slide. Well, apart from that, as I said, TripleA-reno is really trying to develop this holistic approach, so combining offline tools, digital tools, but also providing policy recommendations. And all these lessons learned are somehow also and channeled into this set of recommendations that are really trying to also pave the way for future projects, future actions, and indeed with this very strong support tool for decision making in the perspective of what we call the renovation wave for the next years to come. Next slide. So this is just my concluding slide. Here I wanted to summarize some key takeaways that we've learned so far. Well, first of all, the need for affordable housing is increasing, and this is paramount to be tackled to reduce energy policy. And indeed, we need to develop tools like TripleA-reno even more going forward to enhance the affordability of home renovations. But not just that, it's not just a matter of money. It's very often a problem of understanding what is needed and being able to tackle step by step with specific approach, with very punctual actions, what can be feasible at a moment, and then postponing maybe stronger or more impactful work for the future. We're also really trying to aim at closing the gap between what the market can offer and what the users actually need, and all this with this combined approach. So again, our holistic and multidisciplinary approach is, in our perspective, the key for solving the current issues. So I think I'm done. I'm at 10:20 as planned. So these are our links. Please connect with us and exchange your opinions with us. We have several channels available for connection: LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. These are our partners. So of course you can also connect with our partners directly, or you can send us an email, and yeah, we'll be happy to hear from you. Also your feedback after the session. And yeah, I'm done with the presentation. So Veronica, I hand over the stage to you again. Thank you a lot.
Thank you very much, Simona, for this really good overview of the TripleA-reno project, and specifically of the results and the tools that have been developed. I think for our audience, it's also really interesting to see that you as an architect don't have to work as an architect. You can actually work on something like TripleA-reno and try to change Europe and do some really innovative things. So thank you very much for this. So I will hand over now to Jan Cromwijk from ISSO, based in the Netherlands. So Jan is very much working on qualification and education, and he's one of the people who has very hard worked on the Build Up Skills Advisory app. So I don't know if anybody knows this app, and if not, you can always get it from your app store. Yeah, so I will hand over to Jan to explain a little bit how it all came together with the Energy Transition Board Game.
Thank you, Veronica, for introducing me. And next slide, please. Yeah, when we are talking about TripleA-reno, it's good to have in mind that we are working on several levels. We want to influence the design. And when the design is done, we want to make sure that the quality control during the construction phase is in proper order. And then in the end, we want to make sure that in the in-use phase, we have healthy buildings and happy residents. And within TripleA-reno, we are trying to apply gamification principles to make sure that there are connections between the design, the construction phase, and the in-use phase due to the involvement of the resident in all phases. So we try to involve the resident, and you see the resident drawn in the picture in all the levels, and to make sure that in all of the levels, the resident is a happy resident and a happy client. Next, please. When talking about the board game, it is part of level 1, the design phase, in the orientation phase. What things are possible for the resident or for the housing association or for the landlord in order to retrofit a dwelling? What kind of scenarios can you think of, and what kind of measures are the best with regards to the specific scenario? Next, please. The principle is based on morphological design principles, and that means that humans are very specific beings, and they have the capacity, when they see pictures, to make the right choices without thinking about it. So if you are standing before a shop and you see the showroom, then most of the people see instantly what they like in the showroom and what they do not like in the showroom. And that's behind the morphological design principle, that by giving a visual overview, you can make intuitive and in most cases the most proper choices. Next, please. When those to make sure that those choices fit, we have a so-called measures and concept database where all the retrofitting measures are collected and described with regards to certain specific criteria, and you can see them on the playing board as the playing cards, where for each measure you have a specific card with the information about the measure. Next, please. And that can be used in a dialogue between the client and the advisors to make proper decisions. And that can be done on a residential level, a single unit, but it can also be used, for example, in municipalities when you want to renovate a full neighborhood, for example. Next, please. And then last but not least, it's very important that craftsmen get proper training and do exactly know what is needed to realize the design that has been chosen by the client. And that's part of level 2, where the Build Up Skills Advisory app plays a quite huge role, but that is not within this seminar. So if you are interested, feel free to reach out to hear more about it. Next, please. How did it start? I'm working already quite a few years in the building and installation sector or the construction sector, and I have worked together with DWA. It's a Dutch advisory company that is advising especially housing associations on strategies that they can use to involve the residents of their dwellings. So if you are a housing association or a landlord, then when you want to retrofit in the Netherlands, you need to have an agreement with most of the residents before you can start the retrofitting. And they have used the first design of the board game, and here you see the old design, as an eye-opener that is used firstly in trainings within the housing association to make sure that everybody can tell a good story about retrofitting, And then outside the housing association, in a dialogue with the clients and the residents, in order to make proper choices that are fitting the needs of the residents. And from this starting point, we had a co-creation session. Next, please. Can you show the next slide? Are you still online, Ace, with the next slide? It seems that the slide deck is stuck. Ah, no, there it is. Thank you. Within the co-creation session, we used the original board game in a very nice setting in Valencia in order to find out how it works within the TripleA-reno consortium. And that resulted in a massive amount, more than 60 improvements to the design of the board game. And based on that, we developed the current version. Next slide, please. And the current version has the following characteristics. It is easy to translate and localize. So there is already a guidance manual available for people that want to translate, and that's the easy part. But if you also want to localize, you have to do a little bit more difficult things, because, for example, in Spain, the climate is different than in the Netherlands. Some dwellings are different in Spain than the dwellings in the Netherlands. And by using the localization manual, you can make sure that the measures and the characteristics of the measures are fitting your climate zone and are also reflecting the measures that are available on the local or the national market. And you can also use the localization manual to localize the different scenarios and the cards that are used to give the user a more gamified experience. And Anna from IVE will explain that in more detail. So the game is easy to extend, and within a few weeks we will present a website where you can get in contact with us if you deliver or develop new scenarios, chance cards, game rules, and so on, in order to let the game grow. Because if one co-creation session can lead to 60 improvements, I'm certain that the use of the game will lead to a multitude of more and better extensions of the game. It is easy to produce, to make it as quick producible as possible. The cards are all default business cards, so quite easy to produce and to order. The score notebooks are default notebooks that can be produced quite cheap. All artwork is vector-based, so if there are changes needed, the changes are easy to implement and the graphics are easy to extend. And we can provide with a production facility where we can produce localized versions in batches of at a minimum of 50 pieces. And then last but not least, it's easy to ship to keep the postal costs as low as possible. It is fitting through the default letterboxes, at least in the Netherlands. Next slide, please. I am finalizing this introduction of the context and the co-creation of the board game with some suggestions for use. It can be used in training and workshop settings. And from the Dutch perspective, this was the most successful use case. It can also be used as an icebreaker in renovation teams to find out what are the specific preferences of the partners that are in the retrofitting or the renovation team. You can also use it as an advisor in a dialogue at the kitchen table with your client. It can be used as a business present because it is produced in batches of 50 pieces. We can easily adjust the boxing and the logos on the game in order to make it a business present. And you can even use it at home with your own family to find out what is the most relevant strategy for your dwelling you're living in, and so on. Next slide, please. Yeah, that's the thank you slide. And this is the address where you can contact me for more details.
Thank you very much, Jan, for explaining a little bit about also the history and how it all came together. And I like the memory of when we played it all as a project team together. It was very nice. So the excitement is growing and growing, and I guess that the audience really likes to play the board game, but we will quickly first do a short interactive poll session, and then afterwards Ana Sanchez will explain the rules to us. So if you could please join us on Slido and put in the hashtag TripleA game, and then I just have some short questions for you. So if you are already on Slido, then we would of course be interested in where are you from? So we have the Netherlands, that's Jan. More Netherlands. And Spain, Belgium. More Spain. So it's very well fitting that Gloria and me will play the game for a Brussels-based renovation of a house. So at least we can cover the Netherlands and Belgium. Italy, yeah. And the UK. More Italy. Okay, thank you very much. So let's go to the next question, please. So of course, we would like to know which sector do you work in? Are you all architects, or do you teach as well? Or are you an engineer, or like, or you are a student? Okay, the social housing sector. A lot of research here. Policy, that's interesting. So the architect becomes quite small. We thought that we're gonna have, yeah, there it is, architecture. We thought we have more architects since we are the Architects Council of Europe. Okay, let's move to the next question. Have you ever worked with multi-ownership buildings? So this question is, of course, because this board game facilitates the decision-making. So if you have an apartment building, for example, where you have multiple owners, then it's easier if you work with this board game to find the decision on what to renovate and how. Now we have 50-50. Seriously? No. Okay. Okay, well, I mean, okay, we're back to 50-50. But I mean, as Jan said, there are many uses for the board game. So even if you haven't renovated a multi-ownership apartment building yet, then you can also use this with a single family house, for example, or with your project team. Okay, so let's move to the last question then. I think it's the last question. I'm not quite sure. Have you ever used gamified tools in your work? So Yes. Gamified tools could be, of course, many things. So obviously this board game is not digital. So it's like a board game. So I'm sure you have also used some kind of digital gamified tools. So you have 83% with yes, and no, it's getting it. No. Ooh, ooh. Wow, okay, 50-50. Okay, so then I would say we are really good with this webinar because then you're at the right spot to learn something about how to use gamified tools in renovation work. Was this the last question, or is there one more question? Yeah, okay, there's the last question. In one word, what is your expectation from this webinar? I mean, as I said in the introduction, it is a very unusual webinar because usually you join a webinar and you just get a lot of presentations and so on, and we really want to play the game. So yeah, fun and play and learn more. Yeah. Observe the playing. So you don't want to join the play? To be impressed. Who? That's high expectations. Okay, we try our best. Okay, so fun and learning is the main parts here. Well, and that's the sense of gamified tools, no? That you have fun while learning something. Okay, so thank you very much for joining our interactive poll session. And with this, I hand over to Ana Sanchis Huertas to explain us the rules about the board game. So Ana is also an architect. So again, watch out for what career options you have after you finish your university degree. And Ana is working for IVE in Valencia, and that's a research institute for energy efficient buildings that is based in Valencia in Spain. So Ana, over to you.
Thank you, Veronica, and thank you, Ace, for inviting me to this seminar or webinar, which indeed is very different from others. I really wanted to join this webinar to explain you the instructions of the game, because I was one of those people who participated in the co-design of the board game. So now I will explain you the instructions, but as you will see, even they are not very difficult. You will understand very much better when you start playing it in some minutes. Next, please. So the objective of the game, as it's been explained before, is just to learn, to find out how to make an existing home more efficient or gas-free or energy neutral, depending on the scenario or the objective that you choose when you start playing. You will learn while building your house, and you will learn at the end trying to answer some inside questions that are related to the scenario that you are trying to build. Next, please. So who plays? Anyone can play, from students to construction professionals. It's better if you're older than 12 years old. But in fact, it's very useful for training, for information, for educational purposes, because as we said, this is a learning game. It takes just 10 to 15 minutes to play each round. So if you are having fun and you want to make it longer, you can do all the rounds that you want. But if you want to just insert it into an educational session, you can just play one round and see how it works, and then discuss on the results and those kind of things. This is a game, but there's no winners. Everybody is winning, because this is this so-called cooperative game. So everybody participates and everybody gets something. Next, please. So when you get the box, you get this game board, you get a lot of different cards, measure cards, scenario cards, chance cards, then some score sheet, the rules, and then there's a dice, but the use of the dice is optional, as you will see later. Next, please. So first we go with the setup. The setup is also Very simple. You just have to place the game board, the game board on the table. Then you sort all the measure cards by category and place them around the board, so you can see them very easily. Then you sort the chance cards and the scenario cards in separated stacks, and you put them face down because you don't need to know what's there. Next, please. Then you start playing. Next, please. The mechanism of the game is very easy. You have to complete your scenario card by choosing the appropriate measures cards that you will be placing in the board game. This is the mechanics. I have an objective. I have some things to do to get that objective by putting those things on the board. Next, please. When we do so, we then calculate if we are achieving our objective by measuring our achievements in terms of energy points or price points or comfort points or these kind of things that we will be writing in the score sheet. And then we will see, summing up on the score sheet, if we have completed our scenario. Once we have completed it, we can answer the questions and start the conversation on how do we see if this makes sense, if this doesn't make sense, if I didn't know something, and those kind of things. And then during the game, you can also, in some points, get some chance cards. These chances can make the play more easy or more challenging. But always remember the objective, which is to learn. So next slide, please. If we go step by step as a set of instructions, first, once we have the setup, we choose the scenario card. If we are a lot of people playing, and for example, it's the first times, it's better that we act as a team and we choose only one scenario card, because then it's more easy to discuss on the choices and then answer the questions and those kind of things. Then we write the name of the scenario in the score sheet, because the score sheet is somewhere that we are going to summarize all the play, all the game, and it can be useful later. And then we write in this score sheet the number 30, because this is the points, the starting points of the basic home. And now we are thinking, what's the basic home? So next slide, please. The basic home is the home, the model of the house that we have chosen to build this game. It's a representative house in the Netherlands because it's the origin of the game. As Jan explained, this can be adapted to the different regions. But in this case, we have this terrace house built in the 70s because it's a representative one that also there's many ways to make more sustainable. Here you have the characteristics of the house. It has no floor insulation. It has, for example, double glazing in the first floor, but single glazing in the second floor. And here, for example, it's considered oriented north to south. And it has this kind of characteristics that it's what is the base, and it's the home that we have to improve. Next, please. Next slide, please. This basic home is what it's represented in the game board. You can see at the end the image of the house, and then all these squares representing which parts of the house that you can improve. You can install solar panels or improve the heat generation or the hot water, the floor insulation, or miscellaneous, any other things that you can find in the cards, in the measures cards. Next, please. So now that we have the objective and how my home is now, we have to start choosing which measures we need to achieve the scenario objectives. And we can place those cards in the board, as I have just explained. Once we have these cards in the board, we can write in all of them in the score sheet and put all the energy points that we have earned. So we can start subtracting those points from the original 30. Next, please. Here you can see a measure card, which is the ones that we have to place in the board. You can see that there's the title and a schema representing the functionality of that measure, what it makes, then also the description. Then this red square, which is for some technicalities, because as we are saying, it depends on the profile or the skills of the players. And then you see the points part with the energy points, which are the more important to achieve the objective, but also some other important points which can drive you to make one decision or another, which are the price points or the money savings, easy of installation, low maintenance, comfort, those kind of things. Next, please. Now, once you have put two measure cards, you can decide to roll the dice. If the number is even, you can get from the stack one chance card. These chance cards are meant to dynamize a little bit the game, and they can represent an easiness or a complexity. In this case, you can see here that the chance is something that happened suddenly while you were renovating your home, and is that around you there's organizing a collective purchase. So you have a 20% of discount. This is something that you can take advantage of in order to decide which kind of measures you want to implement in order to get your objective. Next, please. So once you achieve the scenario objective, the round is over, and then you have to answer the insight questions, which kind of things you have learned while building your scenario, or maybe drive your attention to something that you didn't pay attention while putting the cards on the board. Then you have to write those insights in the blank space of the score sheet, so you have the whole summary of your round in one piece of paper. Next, please. Yes, as you can see here, the scenario cards, which are bigger, have in one hand the objective and the points that you have to get that objective, and on the other hand, this set of questions which are aimed to open a discussion on the process that you have just performed. Next, please. So finalizing the round, you have to return all the chance cards into the deck, into the stack, and then you can decide to choose a new scenario and play a new round. Next, please. There's a small variation on this playing game board, which is the training version. The training version only has one instruction, which is follow the trainer's lead. And then the game has a set of recommendations or tips for this trainer to dynamize or better explain how to play, which is maybe at the beginning you have to explain the meaning of the more difficult measures, which we cannot be used to work with, or make all the players use the same scenario card, so it's more easy and we act as a team. Add other scenarios if he thinks or she thinks that it's very difficult, or those kind of things. And then stop, explain, decide when to use the chance cards, and these kind of things. Next, please. So now I'm finished. It's now your turn to play and really learn how to play with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anna. So I think now we are well prepared to play the game. It's going to be Gloria and me who are facilitating the game. So we have put our phones on tripods and hope that you can see everything. So just as a idea, so obviously we want to interact with you. So please feel free, turn your microphone on and your camera, and we're not that big as a group, so it should be possible. If you're too shy, you can also, of course, write in the message box, and then Larissa will read out your question or what you think that we should do. For sure, if you want us to draw a chance card, then please say so. So we will do this whenever the audience wants us to draw the chance card. So we're not going to use the dice. And yeah, so I think I will move over to the other camera, and we have about 20 minutes to play the game before we will have Judit to wrap up today. Okay, so I'm moving over. Okay, good. So in order to make it easier, we already chose the scenario. So it's here. By accident, we chose exactly the one that Anna already said. So we choose the energy efficient and comfortable home because we thought this is what most people want to have, actually. So basically, that means, as Anna said, we are starting with the 30 points. And the idea is that we're going to reduce to 15 remaining points. So we need to put measures to save 15 energy points. And of course, we need to collect the comfortable points. I think I'm not going to read the card. I'm just going to place it on our board game now here. As you can see, oops, we need to turn this around, sorry. Following Anna's rules. Anna, whenever we're doing a mistake, you have to point it out, of course. So these are the chance cards. So whenever you as the audience want us to draw a chance card, then please write it in the chat box or just say it, open your microphone and say it, and then we will do it. Okay, so, so we're gonna start. Okay. Yeah, so Gloria, what should we start with? Like, do you want to make the roof or the facade or new windows, or what's the most important thing that we should start with first?
Let's start with the roof. What do you think?
Yeah, okay. So let's see. We're starting with the roof.
Roof insulation is the gray color.
Okay, so I'm going to take this gray.
Okay.
Wait, this is windows. Windows. Here we have roof insulation. New roof. This is facade. Summer comfort. Seam ceiling. Wait, this might be something in the floor. Then we have a green roof. We have a lot of options for roofs. Okay.
Okay.
So let's see. I hope you can read this. So we have 5 options here.
Okay.
We have just a normal roof insulation.
Mm-hmm.
It saves us 3 energy points, costs us 5. And we can just put it like it's like under the existing roof.
Okay, so it's not really an invasive work to do the same.
Seems quite easy, I think.
Okay.
1 comfort point.
Okay, otherwise?
Otherwise, we could do a completely new roof, which saves us 6 energy points, but it costs 12, so it's quite different.
How many comfort points?
2 comfort points.
Otherwise?
What are the other? Here we have seam ceiling. Okay, this is completely new to me. What is that? Heat is lost through seams and cracks. This can be prevented by sealing seams, cracks with polyurethane foam. Oh, I don't want to have foam.
No, not really sustainable.
Expanding tape.
Otherwise?
Okay, can we put this away because I don't want to have foam. Okay,
okay.
Which is, sorry, Jan. Here we have a green roof. So a green roof that buffers and absorbs the rainwater.
Let's just put it a little bit in the center. Okay.
Yeah.
But then the comfort points are 0. And I mean, the aim of the scenario is both energy efficient and comfortable home.
I think we could have, for example, an insulation and a green roof.
Yeah, the green roof can be combined with the isolation under the roof and even with a new roof.
If you want to have like a super natural house.
Yeah.
I don't know. And the last thing is just about collecting the rainwater.
But this is not really about
this is not about,
right?
This doesn't have any points. It doesn't even cost anything. So this we can have anyway. If it doesn't cost anything, then we can add this.
Okay,
no? Yeah,
sure.
Okay, so for sure we're doing this.
Okay, maybe we can put it a little bit,
Yes.
I don't know, below.
But what are we doing with the other three? So we are either making a
let's
completely
put-
new roof, or we're insulating the one that we have. And are we putting a green roof or not? So if we compare the, how can I put
Cost,
this like
yeah.
this maybe? Yeah.
Wait,
Like
so as
this.
Jana said, this one, this and this can be combined, right?
Does that,
Otherwise, this can be apart.
Jan, do
Yeah.
we need to have? a
Yeah, yeah, it's fine in this way. It's your choice, and it's adding a lot of value for 10 price points. When you add a new roof, you have 12 price points, so that's a little bit more expensive.
Yeah,
So
because
I think it's quite a nice combination. Let's see how it plays out.
So we can do this without making a new roof. We just put insulation from below and the green roof on the top without changing it. That's cool.
yeah, because this, the two of them combined cost 10, while this, as Jan was saying, cost 12.
Yeah. Okay.
But in terms of comfort, this is 2, while these are 0, and let's see with the other elements.
Maybe
to
I
compensate,
think the green roof would actually give me a comfort point, but psychologically,
which is something to
it's
take
not,
care
it's not
of.
real, but for me, I would feel better. No?
Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Do we have space for this? Or we
Oh.
just put it on one of the solar panels as well, maybe? Like we just.
Yeah, I don't know if it's,
Or like this, yeah.
yeah, because gray with gray. Also, this it's gray, but I put it here. I don't know. Maybe we can go. Let's see. Or put it there and then.
Okay. So
In the end, it does not matter.
Yeah.
As long as you place it on a nice gray spot, it
Okay.
works.
what does the audience think? Which one should we conquer next? Solar panels, ventilation, windows, facade, heat generation, hot water? Any suggestions?
Windows.
Okay. So
Facade insulation.
okay, now we have facade and windows. So let's see, is this this is glass, this is the windows. Here we have 2 for the windows and 4 for the facade. Let's start with the windows, so it's because it seems an easy decision. It's basic. Triple glazing and HR double plus glass.
Without frame.
Without frame replacement. Ah, okay. So this would be nice if we have
An old house.
an old house like we very often have in Brussels here.
Yeah, and in most of the historical buildings in Europe, I mean, if they have a tailor-made window frame, then we just replace the glass.
And that's cheaper. So we have the
Yeah.
triple glazing would be 15 price points, while the HR double plus glass.
Okay, if we, in our scenario, we think about an existing building, let's go for that option, one on the right.
The cheaper one, the HR double plus glass.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think? Okay, let's use this for the
Okay.
windows.
Yeah, should it go? I mean, yes, yeah, okay. This is not really the facility solution, but
Let's put this on one of the roof things. No? So it's like,
okay, yeah.
I mean, we're not going to have double solar panels or not. I
yeah,
don't know.
that's true. Okay.
Okay, so how many energy points have we saved already so far?
-8. We have to
Okay.
reach -15.
Yeah, okay, so
Because the starting point is 30,
30.
and we have to go to 15.
well then, but we're not so bad, no?
No,
So
no.
far, so far so good. Okay, then let's do the facade and see if we get. So with this we have fabric first, so to say. Yeah, then we would have the roof, the windows, and the facade. That's probably what most people do. Let's see. So here we have cavity wall insulation. We should know whether our house has a cavity wall or not for this. We have 2 different facade insulations.
One is -5, and the other is -4. And of course, one costs more than the other.
Yeah, but it's not that much of a price difference, no?
But the comfort points are the same.
Yeah. But if we want to get down the energy points, I mean, saving 5 brings us almost to our goal.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the last card? I hope you can all see this.
Summer comfort.
Summer comfort.
Yeah, this depends on where we are based.
Increase summer comfort with shades, cross ventilation in rooms, and by boosting nighttime ventilation. Opt for solar control class and blackout curtains. Use fans for cooling.
Well,
Oops,
this
sorry.
could be interesting for South European countries.
Look, this has 3 comfort points.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it can be done in addition to the facade insulation. So it's a combination. You have first to choose the facade fence insulation, and then you can add summer comfort to it.
Okay, so let's see. So we don't have cavity walls in Brussels. It's at least not very typical. No, this away. But Jan, what I'm missing here is there no like, what if I want inside insulation? Like, what if I have like a maison de maître in Brussels and I cannot put insulation outside? Is there the option in a different card, or?
If there is no card for that, you can design one.
Good. Co-creation, yeah. So which one should we choose? Should we choose the thicker one or the better one?
Yeah, I guess the thickest the better.
I think if you are doing it in this way, it's best to choose the thicker one and combine it with another measure for comfort, for additional comfort, because then you can earn in total 6 comfort points, and that's quite a lot.
Yeah, so let's take then the RC7. Yeah. So we are saving 5 energy points. I'm always putting the use cards here on the right hand side. And then we could add the summer comfort.
Yeah.
Well, is it needed though? I mean, depending on the region we are talking about. If it's South Europe, then yes.
To be honest, my house in Brussels is south facing with one facade, and I would love to have some shading outside.
Ah, yeah.
I don't understand why it's like 4 price points. That seems very, very. Is nobody asking us to tour a chance card, by the way?
I mean, I think we should keep it aside and talk about it later in case.
But it has 3 comfort points here.
Yeah, and maybe here the game board can be improved a little bit later on, because it can be combined with the facade insulation, but there is only room for 1 card, so you can put it on that card as an overlap.
Ah, okay.
Board game 1 is closing. Yeah, it's there again.
Why do we have 2 places for hot water? We could just, I don't know. So should we do it or not? What does the audience think? Do we need summer comfort or not? Please write in the chat box. Of course. Okay, let's put it then.
We have also a request to draw the chance card.
Whoa. Okay. Let's write first our new points, so we see where we stand now with these 2 cards. So we have 14 out of our 15 energy points already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
14.
Okay.
I mean, we should consider also the floor now.
Yeah, but now we need to draw a chance card. So I hope we're not going to be pushed back to something.
Okay.
Maybe we win with this chance card.
Okay. Pick one.
No.
Okay. Just to be fair that we're not cheating. Okay.
Subsidies. Yay.
Oh
no, but it's heat pumps and we don't have a heat pump. Oh, should we get a heat pump now?
No.
Just to be subsidized? Or should we rather continue with the floor insulation? I mean, basically, we just need 1 more measure to reach our energy goal. So
it's nice what a subsidy can do.
Yeah. Should we now get a heat pump just because of the subsidy, or should we rather get a floor insulation to win the game? I mean, with both measures, we would win the game.
In the Netherlands, the gas price is rising very fast, so maybe it's a good moment for a heat pump.
Okay, let's look at the heat pump. Carmen is also saying heat pump. So it's the purple cars, right?
Yeah. Let's see
Okay.
if it's a measure that can combine maybe hot water and heat as well. So the two
Here we
things are
have a
covered.
booster heat pump for hot water. Mm-hmm. And it uses a heat grid. I don't know if we have a heat grid then, but let's see. Wait, this is a solar boiler, so it's not a heat pump. This is another solar boiler. This is a shower heat recovery. So this is the only, wait, we have here also the green. Because the purple is just about the water. Okay, wait. Here we have a hybrid heat pump boiler.
Okay, the green cards are heat generation.
Then we have a ground source heat pump, an air source heat pump. This is pellet, heat grid. No, okay. So we have 4 options for heat pumps. We have one is this purple one,
which is
for hot
related to
water.
water only,
Yeah.
Otherwise, the green ones are heat generation. So
This is not giving us any comfort points. It's saving us 3 energy points and cost 3. Or we have these 3, the air source, the ground source, and the hybrid. So John says the air source. Let's look at the comfort points. This one gives us 2. Which one is this?
I think he was John
That's
was
a comfort.
asking. So maybe he wants to know and wants to have more information about the air source heat pump. So
What are
just read the description here. Yeah. So air source.
Air source heat pump. A heat pump efficiently converts heat from the outside air to higher temperature air for space heating and hot water. Can also be used to cool a home for greater comfort. Heat pumps are only useful when combined with LTH. What low temperature heat, right? LTH, low temperature heating. So this would be the air source, but the air source has 1 comfort point, but it saves us 7 and it costs 8. While the ground source has 2 comfort points, saves us 9, so much more, but it's way more expensive with 15.
And here's the card to combine with the LTH. Can you see it? So in case if we want to adopt this one of the solutions, we have to combine it with this card.
Okay, but we don't have a heat grid in Brussels, do we?
No, I mean it depends on the communes. Maybe they all have to be combined with LTH.
Yeah, all 3 of them.
No, this is LTH or MTH. So this can give us a little bit more option.
I mean, if it's hybrid, I don't know, but then we still need gas, right? Because it's hybrid. So Judit is saying, for example, ground source heat pump, and then the comment needs large spaces or the ability to create boreholes on site. Okay, we don't have a borehole in Brussels or not in our garden. Yeah, so which one? Then we're not taking the ground source, right? Quick vote. Okay, which one? So we're taking the air source. Should we take the air source then?
And then we have to, yes.
Yes, okay, let's take the air source heat pump.
And then combine it with this, right?
I don't think that we actually need to combine it because we already win the game now. But maybe that's not smart.
Okay.
Just stop here.
You need to combine it. You need to combine it with low temperature heating because you do not have low temperature heating yet.
Yeah.
And that's not the low temperature heat grid. It's the heat and cold distribution card. It are the red cards. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you have to choose an additional one to win the game.
Yeah. Okay. And here we have the low temperature heating as underfloor. Oh yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Medium temperature as low temperature. So we have two different ones. But I'm sorry, I already want to have the underfloor. Whatever you say, I have to be egoistic. I love underfloor heating. It's so nice. And if you have a cat, they will sleep on it.
Okay.
Can we do that? Please, please.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
And then I'm going to write that we have -3 points for the price thanks to the subsidies.
Yeah. So there you can see we reached the goal, but we're still adding some.
Well, yeah,
additional.
I mean, the price is a little bit higher now, but yeah.
You have to see how much this is all together. Okay, so we add the floor insulation, and with this we finish.
Okay, so for the energy points, we have so -23.
Wow! So we came from 30 energy points, and we're down to 7 instead of 15 that we actually aim to. Comfort.
No, 12 comfort points.
So I think what we see here. I don't know if you see this. Yeah, maybe you can hold it. So Gloria has calculated the points. So we started off with 30 energy points. We wanted to go down to 15, but actually we reduced 23. So we are down at 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have spent 36 price points with what is it's like 36,000 euros, right? Because each price point is 1,000, I think.
Well, it depends also on the country.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's just to have some kind of. Of course, you do not get all these measures for only 36,000. I think it's actually more expensive in reality. And we have gained 12 comfort points. So I think we have reached the goal, more than reached the goal. So we should now look at. So we have these insight questions now. When you've completed your design, answer the following questions. Is this design interesting for tenants? Well, yes. Right?
Well, yes. I mean, the green roof itself, it's amazing.
We're more fascinated by the green roof. Yeah, but yeah, we have so many comfort points. I think tenants would love it. Which measures offer the most comfort for its price?
Yeah. The facade insulation is -5 for a price of 6. This could be one of the interesting solutions. The facade insulation.
Yeah, it's probably the one that most people do anyway. Well, I think most people first replace the windows and then they go to the roof and the side.
Yeah, exactly.
How many comfort points did you collect?
Comfort points, 12.
Nice. Which distribution system is the most comfortable and why?
The facade insulation again is 3 comfort points, and then the summer comfort, which also was a nice choice. I mean, still depending on your latitude, but.
Did you include a cooling system in your design, and do you see it as an important improvement to comfort? We did have these solar shading that I think are very good for comfort. I mean, it's not really it's a passive solution, but it adds comfort points, right? The solar comfort, the summer comfort thing with the solar shading.
Yeah, sure. This one, yeah.
If you offer a design with a cooling system, how can you limit the energy requirement? We don't have a cooling system. No?
No, we don't need it.
Did other players choose the same measures, and do they share your opinion insights? that's for the audience to
answer.
to answer. But yeah, so I think we're so I think with this we could finish playing the game, and I think I would now hand over to Judit for the closing remarks. Just an introduction for Judit. So Judit is also an architect. She's a Hungarian British, and she's based in London. And she has also done a PhD as well. And Judith is the chair of the work group at the Architects Council of Europe for the environmental and sustainable architecture. So she's really our spokeswoman for everything around sustainability. Judith, the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. Well, thank you for having me at this really interesting workshop. I'm really delighted to see how far the project has come. And you were right in saying it is an attractive game. It seems highly usable, and I very much like the idea of incorporating gamification in promoting sustainable retrofits. I myself teach at University College London. I lead the net zero planning for net zero module at the Bartlett School of Planning, and I work with the architecture and engineering course. I think both of which would probably love to pilot this game. And one of my questions was whether you're still incorporating comments, or to what extent is the project now finished? And in the other question was, what's the possibility of including this in an app, so people can use it more on their phones or on their laptops, and ultimately turn Jan with his expertise into the AI that will guide your choices and your participation in the game. I think watching you play the game was really fascinating. My main goal was to really understand the game and how it works. And it's clear that it communicates the complexity of decision making really well. And for that, I would love to see my students start using it. But what's also clear is that the person guiding the game and using the game absolutely has to be a trained retrofit professional, because these cross checks about what's a realistic solution in a scenario and what not, I think yes, definitely needs the guidance of the trained retrofit professional. I really like the idea behind TripleA-reno, combining this with the labeling scheme, which I recommend people checking out online and following up on this. And also the way in which the project has taken into account design, construction, and in use, very importantly, in use aspects. So the difference between what we assume happens on a project and what really actually turns out in practice, which is one of the reasons why retrofit is actually being such a challenging project, because what we assume to be a cost-benefit scenario is perhaps something completely different in practice, where end users value or may very well value different things than what we set out to do, or what funding structures support, as the game really nicely highlighted. I also really like the fact that the game can be adapted and localized, and yes, ideally turned into an app, please. So ultimately, it's a really great way to begin to engage people, especially lay people who don't have a background in this, if they're guided in the game by a trained retrofit professional. It's a wonderful way to tease out what people's real concerns and priorities may be, and the repercussions of decisions. I think one of the comments was, how does in your demonstration, so how does the change in energy prices change the weighting in the cards. And certainly I'd love to hear more about that. And I think most importantly, how could people piloting or beginning to use this tool begin to feed back to you, and what are the plans for next steps? So thank you very much for the demo, and for having me. And yes, looking forward to further debate. Thanks everyone for attending.
Thank you very much, Judith. It was really good to hear your feedback. It's also a kind of a reality check now. If you projects very often develop tools and things, and of course this board game is a very special one, so it's good to have a kind of a reality check to see whether we can actually use this in our work life. So yeah, I would just open the floor for final questions. Maybe there were some in the chat. I don't know if Larissa wants to read them, or...
Yes, Veronica. So I think we have one, I think, from Judith. So what would it take to turn the game into an app?
Yeah, this is the question for Jan, no? Or maybe for another European funded project.
In fact, we are already working on it within TripleA-reno with a morphological design app. Although when digitizing it, it's very important. It's very difficult to incorporate the gamification elements. So it's when digitizing it, it is easy to implement the decision-making logic, but the characteristics of playing the board game are much more difficult to digitize. So in fact, when the morphological design app for non-expert users is ready and it's nearly finalized, then it's a perfect combination. So on the one hand, you can use the board game to create a concept and then validate the concept in the morphological design application. So we are working on it, and the more improvements and the more suggestions for improvements, the better, because we really love to work with the game as an open source game that is further extended and expanded by the community of users.
So how do you envisage the feedback from various people or various organizations piloting it to be taken on board or absorbed into the game? What would people do if they wanted to change something about the game?
Yeah, that's one of the things we are currently working on. My colleague Carmen is creating a web page where that can act as a landing page for users that want to extend and share ideas about improving the game.
And are you familiar with existing digital tools? For example, the Miro board. Miro?
Yeah. Although we did not test it to play the game or create a game concept like this. So if you have students and they want to do an experiment, feel free to digitize. And you can even ask me on my email address for the digital cards, so that it can be delivered to you as a PDF, so you can make that possible in an easy way.
That would be very interesting, actually. Yeah, I will definitely be in touch to Veronica.
Thank you.
Maybe we could also add the digital version of the game to the TripleA-reno website under results. I mean, if
you could crowdsource the solution.
I think are the digital cards for free, Jan, or you want to have money for this?
In principle, the digital version is for free because it's an open deliverable, and we are delivering it under a common Creative Commons open license.
Yeah.
And the only thing, if you want to order physical versions, you have to pay because we have to produce the physical versions. And on each physical set, we earn a small amount of money that is reserved for the more difficult questions, because many questions we can handle ourselves, but sometimes you need to hire an engineer or an architect to get the real answer to the difficult question. And there we are trying to remake some reserve budget. And for extensions of the game, when it comes to designing new measure cards and stuff like that.
Are you considering teaming up with existing retrofit organizations? For example, in the UK, there is a very highly reputable retrofit organization responsible for training professionals in retrofit. I mean, I think the tool is really relevant for professionals at the beginning of their specialist training for retrofit or for lay people.
Yeah, that we are working on it from our homeland, the Netherlands, but we do not have the capacity to cover the rest of Europe. So we try to create a network of ambassadors that want to implement and pilot the game in their own countries. For example, Anna is leading a group in Spain to localize the version for the Spanish conditions.
Mm-hmm.
And in Hungary, a team is doing the same for Hungary. So we love to see the games spread it out by enthusiast ambassadors. And when it comes to playing in the Netherlands, we have the best experiences in training situations where an experienced trainer is using it as an icebreaker to come to the in-depth discussions and dialogue, especially between the different disciplines involved, because typically each discipline chooses the measures that fits the best to its own profession. And that's not too holistic.
Is the Excel sheet downloadable, and does it expose the dependencies underlying the scoring system?
In its current version, it's just for localization and translation. The dependencies are on our wish list to work them out in more detail.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and thank you for the very in-depth questions. It's a totally different experience than playing it with a municipality or a housing association. So thanks for this opportunity to play it with a group of architects and their clients.
Yeah, and I thank also all the speakers, all participants to this webinar. I think we have to close now because we are already 6 minutes overrun, unless there is any urgent questions. But of course, you can always reach us as well via email or on the TripleA-reno project, of course, on the project website. And we're going to cut this in a very nice YouTube video, and we're going to upload it to the TripleA-reno YouTube channel. So this is the moment where I want to highlight again the TripleA-reno YouTube channel, because originally we wanted to make a roadshow and travel through Europe and play in real with the people. And of course, this is a bit difficult at the moment. So we have so many YouTube videos. I think we're around 30 different YouTube videos, some on the tools like the labeling scheme as well. And some are interviews with each other. We have videos of the demonstration buildings. So we have a lot there in our TripleA-reno YouTube channel. So just visit TripleA-reno website, and then you can link to all our social media accounts as well. Yes, so with this, I thank you again, everyone, and I hope to see you soon in real or digital, and have a nice day. Thank you. Bye-bye.